Good morning and welcome everyone, and welcome to this special edition of the Children's Mental Health Matters webinar series. I'm Angie McRae, the Child and Family Engagement Manager here at the Mental Health Association of Maryland. Our speaker today is Joan Balbuena Hernández, and she'll be presenting part 2 of the Bridges of Support series. Today, it's supporting kids and teens with compassion and confidence. If you missed part 1, you can find the link to the webinar on the Children's Mental Health Matters website. Today, we'll discover gentle, effective ways to help children bounce back from challenges and grow stronger. This workshop offers practical, research-based strategies like fostering a growth mindset, supporting emotional skills, and creating nurturing environments. Perfect for parents, teachers, and mental health providers who want to empower kids to thrive. Join us to learn how to nurture resilient, confident young people for a brighter future. So I'll share a little bit about Joan. Joan Balbuena Hernández is a distinguished professional with a remarkable career in the nonprofit sector, recognized for her exceptional expertise in relationship building. She is a certified peer support recovery specialist and holds certificates in restorative practices and a variety of promising practices parenting programs. She also holds 3 teaching certificates from the University of Puerto Rico for preschool, primary, and elementary level general education. Joan has dedicated her career to fostering meaningful connections, driving collaborations, and achieving impactful outcomes. Welcome back, Joan.
I unmuted myself, yay, and not start talking. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this second part. I am going to promptly share my screen, so give me a minute. Do not be alarmed when you see my screen and not yours. Come on, yours. You should be able to see my PowerPoint, and now you should be able to see the presentation itself. When I am on presenter mode, I have limited access to the icons and interaction modes. So Angie and Mackenzie will be supporting me through that. So please feel free to chime in the chat or raise your hand or comment. I think that the group is suitable for interactive conversations if needed. I have 2 disclaimers before I start anything. The first one is that I am not clinically trained. I do possess a lot of certifications and experience and lived experience that allow me to present to you today, but I won't be able to diagnose you or give you clinical advice. The second one is if something triggers you throughout my presentation, I encourage you to send me a private message through the chat or reach out to Angie through the chat so that we can support you and make sure that you stay well once we are done with our presentation today. Like Angie shared, this is the second part of building bridges of support, helping hands empowering resilience, supporting kids and teens with compassion and confidence. Like she said, my name is Joan Balbuena Hernández. I am the bilingual training and outreach coordinator for the Parents Place of Maryland. And I also support Spanish-speaking families that have behavioral needs when they make a referral to our services. I am the one that's tasked to support them through their journey with mental health, substance use disorder, and problem gambling. A little bit of an overview. I will share with you the Parents Place of Maryland's mission and who we are for the state, just so you have an idea of why I am here with you today and where I come from. We're going to understand resilience as a dynamic, multifaceted process and identify its core components. We're going to explore and implement practical evidence-based strategies, recognize the vital role of parental modeling, the environment, and communication. And we're going to apply resilience enhancing techniques suited for different developmental stages. In this case, I will provide you with resilience enhancing techniques that I would hope you would apply when you encounter youth, your children, or those you work with in the future. So, who are we and what is our mission? At the Parents Place of Maryland, our mission is to empower families and as advocates and partners in improving the educational and health outcomes for all children and loved ones with disabilities, special healthcare needs, and those impacted by behavioral health challenges. We are Maryland Special Education Health and Behavioral Health Information Center. For those of us that are in the provider role, we are the state's PTI and F2F. Um, so each state would have one, and Parents Place is the one for Maryland. We were established in 1990, so that means that last December we celebrated 35 years supporting families throughout the state. The majority of that time we did support them through the special education and health journeys, but now since July of 2025, we are serving families on the behavioral health aspect of the journey of life. And our team is fully made up all the way from our governing board down to us boots in the ground by parents and family members of children or loved ones with disabilities, special healthcare needs, and those impacted with behavioral health needs. So we have walked the walk. We have lived through so many things, and we are able to support families in a way that's following a peer support model. So we're gonna get straight into what is resiliency. Resiliency is the ability for to recover from difficulties and adapt positively to adversity. It is the way that caregivers manage stress and recover from setbacks and keep functioning through difficult circumstances. I think my favorite the definition for resilience comes from the Center of the Studies of Social Policy, when they simply say that resilience is our ability to be strong and flexible to weather the storm. It is the moment when we know that we have to sort of put our oxygen mask first in order to be able to help others. It is the gift that we give ourselves when we know that we need a moment to process life and be well before we can process life with others. Managing stress and functioning well when faced with challenges, adversity, and trauma. So, resiliency basically is the backbone of your emotional well-being and your mental well-being, the one that sustains your interactions with others. By acknowledging that you are worth taking the time to be self-centered and self-cared. Why is resilience critical? Resilience is so important for our mental health. It supports our emotional well-being. It promotes academic achievement and social competencies, and it builds lifelong coping strategies and self-advocacy. And I love this little image of the tree branches sort of like bending over through with the winds. Life is full of ups and downs and challenges and things that may happen that can weather us and strain us. But if we are strengthened in our resiliency, we are able to have that bounce back. We can bend and we can shift. And if you think of resiliency as a rubber band, we can stretch to hold many big things. But then we're also back to sort of come back to that initial state, that state of centeredness and wholeness. And that is important because we want to not only take care of ourselves, but also show our children that we are capable to overcome adversity if we are strengthened through ourselves. Some core strategies to cultivate resiliency as this little dandelion is thriving in the curb. We are exceptional at existing in hard spaces and growing in those spaces. If we're able to be strengthened in our resiliency, it you having a fostering a growth mindset, encouraging independence and responsibility. Um, Allowing our kids to find problem-solving skills or supporting them in achieving problem-solving skills, teaching emotional regulation and promoting optimism and having a positive outlook are all key strategies to cultivating resiliency and strengthening resiliency within ourselves. Resiliency is one of those things that it's hard to conceptualize because it's so vast and different from for all of us. And we build resiliency through different experiences and through different things. But one thing that we have seen and know is that resiliency is linked with like that better mental wellness, being able to be capable of performing academically at work, and also it boosts healthier or promotes healthier relationships. And we do so by incorporating some of these strategies in our day-to-day life. So nurturing a growth mindset by definition is it's the believing that abilities can be developed through effort. It's sort of positioning yourself in a space of growth, in a space of challenge, so that we can then develop better strategies or better coping mechanisms. Um, there is research that shows that having a growth mindset fosters resiliency by helping children see setbacks and difficulties as opportunities of growth. And that is all what growth mindset is tackling things, difficulties, barriers, challenges, setbacks with the thought process of this is going to improve my daily life. This is going to improve my personality. This is going to improve my self-awareness. And it's inviting our kids to sort of start challenging themselves to shifting that belief system that when we go through challenges, things will improve because we will learn how to tackle them in the future. We promote growth mindset by praising effort, embracing challenges, normalizing mistakes, and encourage learning from failure, right? It's shifting that woe is me mentality into like, I can tackle that mentality. It can happen to me, but I will be able to find a way to overcome it. When we're thinking about encouraging age-appropriate independence, we will allow, promote, and support. We will allow children to make decisions suited to their age. And this is contained, right? Decision making, because you're helping them build that sense of independence and that self-efficacy so that they can then become independent when they are choosing um m- more life involved decisions, right? We're helping them choose, like having them, giving them a selection of choices that they can choose from. We are allowing them to set some of their um, limits or consequences to lack of responsibility, or when we are not completing something, they're part of the decision-making process. We're going to promote responsibility and accountability, and that works from like very early on by taking care of our things, our toys, our books, to that release of responsibility and upholding accountability as they grow older. You can expect a 3-year-old to tackle a lot of things, but you can expect a 14, 15-year-old to be able to be given some expectations and for them to be responsible and accountable to completing those expectations. We are going to support taking risks. And learning from failure. We will encourage that. We will provide a safe environment for our kids to fail. Um, Contain failure, right? The younger they are, the more contained we will be with those, because we don't want to frustrate them. And this is all I want to preface this. This will need to be adapted depending on the cognitive and the abilities. And if there is a disability, this is more so for neurotypical developing children. The ones that I'm giving you, if you are interested in how to adapt this for neurodiverse children, for children that are developing in a different path, you can reach out to us, the Parents Place, and we can provide that one-on-one support. But for the benefit of this group, I'm talking about more so neurotypically developing children. But then you need to consider each of your children when you're allowing, promoting, and supporting them. Because you want all of your children to be able to experience this in a contained, safe environment with someone that's supportive and positive in their life, which is you as the parent or the provider. If anybody has any questions or has any comments, please feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat. I know that I can talk, 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 talk. Um, and I don't want to dismiss anyone. I cannot see anything or anyone, so please feel free to jump in and ask or share. Supporting problem solving skills, crucial. Crucial. I think that schools, not to bash any school system or their curriculum, but they are not teaching a lot of problem solving skills. They're teaching a lot of like multiple choice skills, and we know life is not about multiple choices. Oftentimes we have to have a problem solving process or a thinking process. Our executive functioning skills come into play. And there's not a lot of executive functioning training in schools that's happening nowadays. So we need to be able to, at home or our places of service, teach step-by-step approach to challenges. We're going to encourage brainstorming and planning so that we can be preventive if we can. But if we're in the reactive portion of the problem solving, how can this be, how could have we prevented being in this situation kind of processes. And then we're going to validate the effort and persistence, not just the outcome. We're not going to get excited just because they completed the task or they figured it out. We are going to show that effort and persistence is what it takes to truly shift the gauge of success or the gauge of that outcome, right? It's acknowledging that the process, like the journey, is as important as achieving that outcome. And that we do that by supporting those problem solving skills. I did have that when we're able to support problem solving skills, we cannot empower our kids to face obstacles from a proactive lens and persevere in accomplishing their goals, which in terms builds that resiliency. It reinforces that sort of resiliency mindset and that growth mindset as well. Some emotional regulation techniques, we're practicing mindfulness and breathing exercises. I think that the car journeys, like the road trips and the car trips to and from the grocery store, school, whatever, are the best ways to practice mindfulness and breathing. It is a great opportunity for communication to happen, for check-ins to happen, and you can utilize like a song that you all like and you breathe according to the beats. You take deep belly breaths and you let them out before the beat drops, kind of thing. We recognize and label emotions accurately. It is really hard for little people to understand their emotions and they don't yet have the vocabulary to express themselves. So we have to give them the vocab. We have to give them the words. Again, I'm a big believer on the Center for the Studies of Social Policy's Protective Factors framework. We are our children's first teachers when it comes to social and emotional competency. So in order for them to be able to build positive and strong relationships in the future, we need to help them communicate what they need and how they feel effectively. We love them and whatever grunt noise jargon inside the home happens, we will be able to meet the needs of our children. But we are raising children for the world because we will love them and we will support them regardless. But Angie, I'm going to use you as an example. If Isabel, my oldest, um, doesn't know how to express herself, but I know that when she paces and she like puts her fists up and down like, ugh, like this does this, I know what she means by that. But if Angie's providing services for her and she doesn't know and Isabel doesn't know how to communicate that she's frustrated and is doing that, Angie won't know how to help Isabel because Isabel has not expressed how she's feeling. So in order for me to make sure that Isabel's needs are met and that she won't be taken advantage of or be vulnerable or victimized, I need to teach her how to communicate her frustration so that she can express those needs. And using cognitive reframing to challenge negative thoughts. This comes from that growth mindset sort of like idea of like we are seeing things, we're seeing challenges as opportunities of growth. We are seeing barriers and setbacks as stepping stones for success, as stepping stones to build our self-awareness, as stepping stones to achieve greater outcomes. It's reframing those um beliefs, those negative thoughts, or the correlation of like a setback with a negative. When we can see setbacks and we can see contained failures as opportunities to strengthen our resiliency and move forward in a way that it's more authentic maybe to ourselves. Fostering optimism, it's we model that through positive outlooks and hopeful thinking. Um, it's focused on strength, success, and progress, and reframe setbacks as temporary and solvable challenges. Again, is that shift of like if from point A to B does not work, there's all these other 26 ways that we can handle A through B or point A to C. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be linear. Life seldom is linear. So, teaching our kids that it is okay to shift, it is okay to do things differently, it is okay for our plans not to work out. When we are planning a road trip and things don't go according as you would like, that is a great moment for you to model a positive outlook. Sheesh, I was hoping that it would take us an hour and a half to get to DC. In my case, I'm about an hour and a half from DC. But there's a road closure on 70 that won't allow me to go directly from 70 to 270 to 495. So we need to shift. We need to go local and that'll take us longer, but we're going to make it through. We're going to make it. It's a little adventure. Who knew that we needed an adventure today? So it's changing, it's modeling that sort of like supportive mindset of like things will be different, but we will make it there. Kind of reframing. And your role as a caregiver or parent model or parent, it is crucial for you to demonstrate resilience in your own behavior. It not only creates supportive environments, but it also builds communication between you and your child. It encourages expressive and reflective dialogue about setbacks, and it models problem-solving, optimism, and emotional regulation. Like you are the teacher, you are the person that is able to encourage them to fulfill and complete those setbacks or challenges. It is okay for them to see you struggle. Um, I think it is important actually for your kids to see you tackle a setback. It is important for them to see you sort of like navigate when things don't go the way that you wanted them, or for if the outcome changes, like you were expecting something to have this specific outcome and it doesn't pan out, talk
Excuse
it
me, Joe.
through. Like that was I was just saying, just so that it's in the recording, that this is part of the presentation. We planned this all along. Surprise. We were just talking about demonstrating resiliency in our behaviors, and what a beautiful way for that to sort of like happen, and for us to just join back in. We all knew what to do um, in that moment, so I appreciate you all coming back. We just sort of talked about our roles in the strengthening of resilience. So how do we create those supportive environments so that you can come back, right? So we're gonna establish routine that promote predictability, Lord, and safety. It is super important. Our children thrive when they can predict or can have certainty in day-to-day life. Transitions are hard. Changes in our schedules can be difficult. So when we establish routines that are rooted in stability, it just enhances the feeling of safety. When I am safe, when I feel safe, I am more likely to be able to tap in those problem-solving skills, those higher functioning processes, mental processes, because my brain is in full-blown gear. It is not in that lizard reactive brain. We're using our whole prefrontal cortex, right? We're gonna foster open. Sorry, my alarm just went off for some reason. Foster open and honest communication. We want our kids to be able to feel seen and heard, and that we want them to come to us first when they're experiencing any sort of crises or challenges or setbacks. We're going to promote autonomy and decision making, and by doing that, contained decision making, we're going to give options, we're going to guide options while they're younger so that when they are older, they can sort of have mind frame or a baseline to what they need to do in order to make decisions that impact their lives in a positive way. And we're gonna celebrate efforts and persistence, not just the success. Like we have been talking about this. If you think about the previous slides, they are all building upon this sort of like supportive environment. Um, Generationally, this can be difficult because we are all carrying our trauma. We are all carrying our inner childhood wounds. Our inner child is healing through our parenting in some ways. So it can trigger things in us that are conflicting, but through conversations with your support systems, with your professionals, providers or professional support people, therapists, you're able to sort of process and game plan so that you are able to provide your child the environment that you wish you had. Or if you had it as a child, you're just gonna continue to provide that supportive environment that was so enriching for you. Building resilience through strength-based approach. So resiliency is that armor, that sense of like I am able to overcome really hard things. So we're going to focus on the child's strength or the children's strength and assets. We're gonna work from the base of we all have strengths, and we're going to build upon those. And we're going to utilize those to support the areas of growth that we have self-identified or identified in our children. We're going to encourage goal setting and small successes. This is the whole journey. What is one thing you can do today to get you closer to here? You don't have to go from here to here today. Like, that's not realistic. Your older teens, like they're thinking about driving and cars and all of this. So the goal is you driving your car. What is one thing that you can do today that can get you closer to the car and driving? You will set those goals so that they can achieve them successfully little by little. You're gonna chunk the assignment. If you are in the IEP world, you understand what I'm saying. You're gonna use positive reinforcements to build confidence. And that is not just your typical good job, I'm so proud of you. Those are nice. That is nice to hear, especially that I'm proud of you. We often don't hear that. Um, but also, I love how you made that choice. I love that you stuck to your gut and you made that choice and look at the outcome you achieved. What is next? What do you have next? What's next what's in store for you next? Um, what is one thing you could have done differently that would help you get there quicker? So we're going to build those encouraging and positive reinforcements that will build their will build their self-awareness, and that they are strong, independent, and able to make hard decisions. And we're gonna teach our children to reframe challenges as opportunities. We are going to teach them about optimism, and we're gonna teach them about that growth mindset and how we grow through what we go through. I think that that is one of the most overused little expressions that has come out, But it is so true. Like we heal through what we go through, we grow through what we go through, and we live through what we go through. So teaching our kids to see the beauty in the hardship, the beauty in the setbacks, life will be challenging for some, and if not for all at some point. So teaching them that that is the reality and that we have the power to either bask in that sort of like gloom and doom and muddy water, or we have the power to stay there for a few minutes and then launch forward because we want to get to that car driving scenario. So what do we do? Like, how do we tackle this? How do we tackle this as a family? How do we tackle this as a care team? Um, it doesn't have to be your own child. It can be a person you're supporting through work. How can I partner with this child's family so that we are all a team of care, a supportive environment? We all have the common language to support this youth into achieving what they need to achieve, into achieving what we know they can achieve. Um, because we're building upon their strengths, right? Actionable strategies for different developmental stages. We're gonna customize resilient building techniques to the age and maturity. We're not expecting a little person to have the same ability to handle certain things as a bigger person, right? As an older kid, a teen, a young adult. So we're gonna cater to each of our children's abilities, strength, assets, and their age, developmentally age. If you're wondering, how will I know? How will I know what my kid is capable of doing developmentally? You're gonna go to the CDC's website or download the milestone tracker app for those 0 to 5. But in the website, you can find all developmental stages, even into middle and adult and high school age. And you can sort of like learn. Knowledge of parenting and child development is part learned, part natural. There are things about parenting that we know, and there are other things that we have to sort of like learn. And each child is different. So what you implement with child one might not work with child three, and maybe half of it works with child two. So you have to figure that out for your specific child. And then you're going to, for younger children, we're going to use stories. We're going to use play, a lot of play. For little people, it's super crucial and important. You're not only um, teaching them valuable life skills like sharing and time management and taking turns and problem solving skills, but you're also helping them to regulate their emotions. You're also helping them to communicate and practice having those conversations to meet their needs and express their emotions when they go into a school setting or a provider setting. And then for adolescents or teens slash young adults, we're going to encourage goal setting, reflection, and peer support. We're going to find peers that are positive um, in their lives, teams, church groups, community services groups. Um, if they are already involved with systems, which is fine, we all have our paths. Adolescent clubhouse houses through the mental health association, like they are there, they're in your communities, in some of 14 of our counties that can support your child that may be struggling with a substance use or in recovery or is in the midst of any of those struggles. So connecting them with supports that will help them set goals and set expectations for themselves and feel like they are accomplishing things will be so important and so beneficial for them. And then there are practical tools and resources, journaling and reflection exercises. You can journal grateful, like gratefulness journals or happy moments journals. I also have a journal that's for, actually, it's not a journal, it's more like a notebook that has like this kind of binding so I can tear pages off easily. And that's where I write things that I don't want to exist in my brain. All of those intrusive thoughts, all of those questioning thoughts, all of those thoughts that may develop into like an anxiety or panic attack, I jot them down, I turn it off, I ball it out and throw it out because it doesn't need to be in here. So teaching our kids that things do not have to live in there. They can exist outside of there and we can just like throw them away um can be helpful. Same way that if we write things that we want, we manifest things, the way that we speak about our futures impacts the positive outcomes of our future. Mindfulness and relaxation apps, there are some free ones, there are some they may have a cost. You know the financial budgets for your family, so you know what you can offer, but do research first, make sure that they are good quality apps or social media groups. There are a lot of peer support groups on social media, but we want to make sure that they are safe and contained because there's a lot of access to our children out there and that is kind of scary, so we have to protect them. So having a good cyber health and encouraging cyber health is important. Social and emotional learning curricula, so learning a lot about social and emotional competency and how to support our children through their social and emotional journeys. You can look for groups that are about that. You can look for trainings. You can reach out to Parents Place for support with that. And then parent and educator guides for resilience support. So there's a lot, like if you go to the centers, I will say it again, like that is my go-to place. The Center for the Studies of Social Policy has the whole protective factor framework, and they have a lot of good resources. Our website at PMD also has a lot of evidence-based, high quality, accessible resources about different topics, education, health, and behavioral health. Reaching out for support to your local practitioners, to your local organizations that are supporting families and that are providing in-home supports in some cases. Everyone needs help sometimes, so knowing where to go before crises happen is important. We're teaching our kids that everyone has strengths and that we may not be able to do everything ourselves. So key takeaways is that resiliency is a skill that can be developed through intentional practice. Some scholars and scientists believe that we are born resilient and we just enhance our resiliency as we grow through what we go through. Focus on fostering growth mindset, independence, problem-solving skills, and emotional regulation with optimism. Parental and environmental influences are powerful in shaping resilience and tailoring those strategies to developmental stages so that the individual needs of each child can be addressed and supported. That is what I hope we have sort of learned today and what we're taking with us today. I will put the link in the chat for the survey in case you are on a phone and you cannot take a picture of the QR code. So do not worry about that. You will have the link in the chat. And that is, we are a nonprofit, so all of that data and feedback is important and crucial for us to better our programming, to support our efforts, and to show the state that our work is really impacting families out in the community in the state. And then this is how you would get a hold of me. I would love to have a chat with you. If you need me, you can call our main line. 216 is my extension. And Joan at ppmd.org is my email. If you're interested in having a conversation about future training, supports, or anything really that I can do to support you and your family, please do not hesitate to reach out. I will stop sharing so that I can see your beautiful faces. If you have any questions, comments, concern, please take this time um to ask. I will be here until 12:30. So
Yeah, so we do have some more time, so feel free to ask Joan your questions. Thank you all for hanging in there with our little glitch. Audra, we do not give certificates for attending, so I'm sorry about that. Any
Show them
questions?
the recording so they see you were here with me.
I'm just checking. All right, last call. Any questions for Joan about what she shared with us today? Let's see, we're getting some great
Welcome.
feedback. Thank you for this great presentation.
Thank you for being here.
Let's see, trying to get to the bottom. Yes, lots of thank yous, great presentation. Wonderful. Well, again, I want to take this time to say thank you, Joan, and to Parents Place of Maryland, who is one of our 2026 Children's Mental Health Matters campaign sponsors. Thank all of you for joining us and rejoining us today. You'll receive a follow-up email with a link to the presentation and our survey so that we can continually improve these webinars for you. We hope you'll join us this Thursday, May 21st, for Understanding and Supporting Minoritized Youth in the Digital Era, and that will be presented by the University of Maryland. We're still recognizing children during May, Mental Health Awareness Month, so if you haven't already, join the Children's Mental Health Matters campaign as a champion. And I'll take this time to say thank you to all of our existing champions and all the great work that you've done this season across the state and making such a powerful impact. Um, for existing champions, you can visit our Champion Corner to get details about the campaign and upcoming events. And I know that Mackenzie shared a lot of information in the chat, so follow up there. And we look forward to working with all of you to support families and communities across Maryland. If you have questions, reach out to us at info@cmhm.mhamd.org. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks again, Joan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for sticking with me.
Absolutely. Thank